Good evening, boys and girls. It is almost midnight, which is the perfect time to do a video such as this. If you recall, a few videos ago, I did a cavalcade of custom Blu-ray covers. How about a few more, right? These are ones that I printed off not too long ago, just a few hours ago, in fact. And most of them are for movies that I still don't physically have yet. Now, there were a few that I reprinted because the previous print jobs, they weren't up to my satisfaction. And then those are ones I don't have to show you right here just because I was like, yeah, you can't really tell on camera. But here are some new ones that I do have in the collection, and I'll show you some ones that I'm going to eventually get in the collection. So first up, look how cool this Battlefield Earth cover is. I love the prepare to go cyclo. She's hot but she's cyclo, a little bit cyclo. I wish. But yeah, this is such a such a masterpiece of shit movie. Who doesn't love Battlefield Earth? But I really, really like this cover here because it is pretty damn close to the I think the novels had several different covers, but like if this anybody that is an L. Ron Hubbard fan can tell me, but if this isn't one of the official covers for the book, then could have fooled me. Like, it looks very, very close. Now, the Church of Scientology, their publishing arm, I cannot remember their name off the top of my head, but they are the ones who continually publish L. Ron Hubbard's works, whether it's Scientology related or whether it's, some of his sci-fi work, because that was mostly what he was known for prior to the creation of Scientology. And their publishing wing I would see at, like, conventions and stuff, because they're trying to obviously push his works. And I remembered seeing like a full-sized cyclo as described in the book, and I remembered seeing, the covers for his, sci-fi novels and stuff, and this definitely looks like it could be one of those. Next up, Insidious 1, with that, this is a cool custom artwork here. Now, the original artwork looked really cool as well, and I obviously still have it in here, but nonetheless, it's always good to have some interesting alternatives here. But yeah, who doesn't love Insidious? And then King Arthur, the 2004 one with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley and everything. I really like this cover a lot, which is not to say that I didn't like the official artwork, because I remember the poster for this film made me want to see it when it came out, and I still haven't seen it, but I have it in the collection because I do intend to see it. But yeah, there's just something about this that I enjoyed. I think it's because I also printed off this one for Alexander Revisited, and there's a bit of similarities in the composition. But anyway, it's just something cool to kind of make it stand out. So those are the only ones that I printed out that I already have in the collection. Now, there are several that I printed out and cut and arranged, so that way if I can ever come across the disc only, in they will go. So first up, so we mentioned King Arthur there, showed off Alexander Revisited the Final Cut, which this was one that obviously people know that it was considered, big bomb, big catastrophic critical failure, all that stuff. Well, then you had this bad boy from 63? Yeah, the Cleopatra with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton and Rex Harrison. Now this film, this kind of contributed to the downfall of the old studio system because of how unbelievably expensive it was to make, how temperamental the stars were, how Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, they were, yes, yeah, I don't have the disc yet, but they were undergoing a pretty turbulent. Well, it became turbulent, but at the time it was quite the torrid affair. Like to where they wouldn't stop kissing when Joseph L. Mankiewicz called cut. That sort of thing. And so it basically, because of the extravagance and the waste of money and the kind of perception of like melodrama and everything, it did kind of lead to the collapse of the studio system that existed at the time, and led to new Hollywood, and that led to people like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and Martin Scorsese and all the people that kind of reinvented Hollywood. But point being, I do find that interesting that they were both kind of studio epics and stuff. And one about Macedonia, and the other one about Rome/Egypt. But anyway, I remember watching this film all the time when I was a kid, and I loved it. I have not watched it in forever, though, and that's why I wanted to get it back in the collection, but I wanted to get a cool, unique cover for it. And then next up is what has kind of become a comedy cult classic, which is Clue. Again, this was before the big sorry about the glare. This was before the big wave of Hasbro adapting every card game or board game that they have, like the Battleship, Ouija, all that stuff. This was way before that trend of adapting everything and anything that the public might remotely recognize. But Clue's a really damn good movie. It's quite funny, and it's one of those ones that gets better with repeat viewings. I just need to get it back in the collection, but I just like that cover, because I think that's the original poster. Anyway, this is one I need to see. I know it's kind of an 80s fantasy classic, which is Excalibur. Look at that cover. Isn't that cool? When it's not glaring like mad. Sorry about that. But yeah, I need to finally watch that one. But yeah, I like tracking down all these cool custom covers that no one else will have. And then I might as well just show these together because they're kind of, same basic premise anyway, which is The Greatest Story Ever Told with Max von Sydow. I think that's how you pronounce it. Who recently died, rest in peace. And King of Kings with, is that Jeffrey Hunter? Yeah. So these are both, biblical epics about, the life of Jesus. One of the, two of the many, many, many adaptations of that have been filmed over the years, and just happened to stumble upon these two, and I thought they were really cool looking. So I will need to get them into the collection. I've never seen this version of King of Kings from 1961. There's an older one that this one's Nicholas Ray. There's an older one that I believe it was DeMille. I think he did that one. It was either him or D.W. Griffith, but I think it was DeMille. But he did, obviously, both versions of the Ten Commandments. But then this one here was George Stevens, and this one had like an all-star cast. And I'm pretty sure I'm probably seen this at some point, but it was like forever ago, like when I was little. But I've never seen this version of King of Kings. But point being, get these in the collection because I have The Last Temptation of Christ. I have The Passion of the Christ. There are so many different takes on that, central story that, is probably this one's called The Greatest Story Ever Told. It's like, it's by far and away the most well-known story in human history. So, it's one of those things that all kinds of ways to tell it and retell it and all that stuff, but I really love how cool the custom artwork turned out for both of these. Anyway, what all do we have next? We have a Peter Jackson film that I have never seen. Actually, two Peter Jackson films I've never seen. Some of his lesser-known ones. The Frighters there, which that's a cool cover, isn't it? With Michael J. Fox. This was kind of the film that bridged his... this came after Heavenly Creatures, but it was before the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so it kind of bridged the gap there. And then this actually came after Lord of the Rings and after King Kong, and that was The Lovely Bones, which I printed off this custom artwork for my dear friend Donald Wills at Media Freak Reviews, to whom I have sent many, mystery boxes and cool things for him to unbox on his channel. But he asked me to print off this custom cover for him because he had the disc only and didn't have a case for it. And so I said, sure. And I didn't have the movie myself, but while I was printing out a bunch of stuff, I was like, hey, why not go ahead and print that off for myself, so that way I could, have it for my own usage. And then this is a movie that everybody was talking about this several years ago, but I still never saw the movie, but I heard great things about it, which was It Follows. And this is that cool, like, kind of 80s throwback cover there. Which I've seen, that this was one of the poster designs, and, I just thought it'd be cool to have that in the collection there. And then, never saw this movie, heard kind of mixed things about it, but I like this cover, and it was for Killing Them Softly with Brad Pitt. And yeah, I know nothing about it, to be honest, but I saw this cover, and I was like, yeah, that looks pretty unique. And then, what else do I have? A Steven Spielberg film here that I've never seen, and I remember it caused, like, a small bit of controversy at the time, and that was Munich, and I wanted to download this one because look how cool that looks. Like, that is creepy as hell. I love it. And I know that it's kind of this controversial event that occurred during the, whatever that was, the 1972 Summer Olympic Games in Munich, and so yeah, definitely looking forward to finally watching that. This was a 2005 Spielberg film, same year as War of the Worlds, but yeah, eager to check that out. And then I heard not so great things about this movie, but it's got Alice Eve in it, and she's smoking hot, and that's The Raven, with John Cusack playing Edgar Allan Poe. And I thought that was a cool custom cover, so yeah. And then Sleepy Hollow here, the Tim Burton film. That's a neat cover there. I liked Sleepy Hollow quite a bit. Like, it diverges from and expands upon the original story by Washington Irving. But I enjoyed it for what it was. Again, it's very clearly paying homage to, like, Hammer horror films from the, like, 50s, 60s, 70s. It has that feel to it, and it also, despite the fact that it does deviate quite a lot from the original story, there are things that they still preserve, like the fact that Ichabod Crane is still kind of a coward, and he faints easily, and he's not really all that, classically heroic and all that stuff, so they definitely preserve all of that. And then this is a movie that I have heard of in passing, but I know very little about it, and that is a movie called Splice. But I saw that cover, and I was like, yeah, now we're talking, that looks pretty cool. And I know that this was, like, I think at least partially Canadian sci-fi film that I know kind of got some praise in its native Canada, so there you go. And last but not least, it's a movie called We Own the Night There, with Joaquin Phoenix and Robert Duvall and Mark Wahlberg and Eva Mendes, which I remember seeing the trailers for this. I just never watched the actual movie, but I like that cover a lot more than the official one, so thought I would go ahead and print it out. Now to somehow get all those discs in the collection, but that'll be a quest for another time. I don't know if anybody else out there, if you guys are into custom cover designing or printing or whatever, but if you are, then please let me know in the comments below, and if you like this, then like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, set phasers to stun, warp factor 5. I will see you in the next video. I should hopefully have some Amazon pre-orders coming my way that will be worth talking about, but yeah, I just wanted a little something to tide you over, since it was something I just felt like doing today. And you've probably seen these already, but just before I go, just remind you of some of these other ones that I have printed out previously that I still need to get the discs for. But you know, sometimes it's the thrill of the print. You know, instead of the thrill of the hunt, it's the thrill of the print that gets ahead of you, such that you want to get these things printed out, and that way, if you do come across the disc, you can just pop it right in. But you know, there are worse things to occupy your time, right? I love that. Love this one too. And especially love Willow here. Winter's Bone, and of course, Wrath of the Titans. But, yep, just let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.